Hello and welcome to chair yoga for all levels. We are going to be doing some seated and then come to a few standings and then a few seated again. And the purpose of this chair yoga session is to simply open up the layers and feel more open all the way in towards the core and release pressure on joints and ligaments and maybe untying knots that might be bothering us somewhere in the body, just by the help of moving with the help of support of a chair. So thanks for being here. We'll just start by sitting onto a chair, and I'm wearing my slippers today because they really make me feel a little bit more grounded. And you might want to put your chair against a wall, or you might be comfortable right where you are. Just to grab a comfortable chair with a backrest of some sort. And sit nice and tall on the sit bones and relax the shoulders away from the ears. And we're just going to tip the left ear over towards the left shoulder and get a nice gentle stretch in towards the right neck, shoulder area. We'll just hold it here for 3 breaths and enjoying a nice, just comfortable seat on our sit bones and just letting the neck and the head tilt to one side. And then gently taking your left hand and lifting up your head and switching to the second side. And enjoying finding the seat nice and even, just creating some nice space on the left side of the shoulder. And there's no pulling or pushing, it's just going by feeling where it feels good to have the head tilted to the side. And then slowly take your right hand and help your head, neck back upright. Release the hands to the sides and turn the palms. Inhale, bring the hands all the way up. The gaze can come up. And then exhale, bring it all the way back down. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, arms up, either arm palms together or palms apart. And then exhale, bring it back down. Take a nice big inhale all the way to the top of the lungs, and then exhale, bring it back down. And we'll do 1 more for good measure. Inhale, nice big inhale. And exhale, take it all the way back down to the side. This time we'll take the palms up towards the ceiling again. And maybe take the gaze up, and then we're going to exhale and fold forward and take the hands maybe to the floor. Maybe the hands, the forearms comes to the knees. Maybe this is a comfortable place. Maybe it comes down towards the floor and just relax the neck and the spine. And then inhale, take it all the way back up, arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale again, hinge and fold at the hips. Support yourself with the pressure on the feet and the legs, and of course on the seat of the chair. And fold forward. So wherever your fold is, maybe it's with the forearms onto the knees. Maybe that gives a nice release of pressure in the back or stretches the back in a nice way. Maybe it's taking the hands to the floor. And lift it all the way back up. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more hinge and fold forward, rounding the spine, letting the spine elongate, releasing the neck, the head. You might even take your head a little bit side to side. And then from here, pressing into your feet and raising the arms, using your core to lift yourself back upright. And then release the hands down to the side. And from here, we're going to come to standing and come to the right side on your chair and take your left hand on towards your backrest the chair. And take the right arm up towards the sky and lift it all the way up, and maybe we'll stay here in a nice big elongation with our arm just straight up. Maybe we'll sink it over to the side, and maybe for more grounding we'll take the gaze down onto the chair. You can bend your knees slightly to stay grounded where you are, and then gently take it back up and take your hand to the side and support yourself with your left hand on the chair, and take your right hand to your ankle for a thigh stretch. So we're just holding the hand and the ankle here together, breathing and softening. And I like to bend into the standing leg to get a good support with my hip and my ankle stacked above and below each other. And by wearing some comfortable shoes or slippers, something that's sturdy, it just gives a little bit more support and a little bit more steadiness and grounding. And then exhale, release the hand. And then I'm going to go to the second side. Come on over towards your left side of the chair and take your right hand onto the backrest. Left arm up towards the ceiling, and maybe it's a nice big hold up towards the sky, and perhaps you bend your side body and take a side stretch over towards the right side. Bend to your knees and plug your femurs in. Get a nice big opening from your hip through the side of the waist, up through the side of the ribs to the shoulder, armpit, and then gently from there take it all the way back to the center and hand down to the side. Take your left hand and your left ankle and stretch the front of your left quad with your knee facing down, bending into the standing leg, feeling all four corners of the right foot, having a nice steady feeling in the standing leg. Give yourself a few breaths right here. And then from here, slowly release the foot back down. And I'm going to turn my chair. You might turn your device that I'm on rather than your chair. So whichever works for you. I'm going to take the chair towards the edge of my mat. You certainly don't need to have a mat, you just need to have a sturdy grip on the chair. Take the hands on each side of the chair seat and bring your feet as wide, outer hip widths apart or as wide as your mat. And come into a down dog supported style with the chair to release pressure in the spine and elongate the spine. You can grab your hands around the chair or press your hands around the chair and then just simply lean back. And I like to bend my knees so that my femurs can plug back and can release tension in the lower back or the hips, or untying any knots in the whole lower back area. And then that kind of has a nice ripple effect up towards the middle back and upper back and up towards the neck. You might just let your head hang and be heavy, pressing your hands or just simply holding your hands around the chair. Bending into your knees and plugging your femurs back, and starting to also feel perhaps a nice big stretch in towards your hamstrings. Maybe also all the way down towards the calf. Make sure to have your root of the big toe pressing down to feel grounded on your inner edges of the feet. We'll take another breath here. And then gently take it all the way back up. And you can take your hands a little closer over towards the edge of the chair. Bring your feet together and then step your right foot forward and your left foot is back. I'm just going to come down and either take your hands around the back of the chair and enjoy a forward fold triangle version, or your hands might come to your chair stand, to the seat, and we might stay right here and enjoy a nice elongation of the back, and certainly in towards the right hamstring area, the back of the right leg. And from here you might come down onto your forearms. You can slightly bend into the knees so that there is a nice flow of energy in the back of the knees the whole time. Give ourselves a few breaths right here to let that nice hamstring stretch sink in through the layers of the hamstrings. And slowly take your hands, support yourself on the chair wherever you had your hands. And then we are going to step and switch legs. Take your left foot forward so it's straight down by the seat and your right foot back. And from here, maybe again the hands are in the back of the chair for more length by the shoulders. If that feels good, just kind of go with where you're feeling like it's a great place to be for your stretch. Maybe it's hands on the chair seat, or maybe it's forearms down onto the chair seat. Micro bend into the knees so that there's a nice transport of energy in the back of the legs, so it doesn't stop at the knees by hyperextending and hanging onto the knee joint. Press down the root of the big toes and enjoy a nice big stretch of the back of the legs and a nice opening in towards the hips and a stretching towards the lower back and the seat. We'll take another breath right here. And then slowly take your hands, support yourself onto the chair, step forward, and we're going to switch legs again. Step your left foot back. Turn your left foot out so that your right heel goes right into the center arch of your left foot for Trikonasana version in our chair pose support. So take your right hand in the center of the chair, take your left hand onto the hip. Press all four corners of your feet onto the floor, and you might even lift your toes a little bit and then put them back down. And if you have nice supported shoes on, it feels pretty steady to stand here. And we can be right here with your left hand onto the hip and with your right hand pressing down into the chair, but also lifting up from the chair. And you might take your left arm all the way up for your Trikonasana chair style. You can take the gaze down on towards the right big toe for more grounding and support. We're doing a nice inner rotation onto the legs and opening up pathways and meridians from the belly, through the hips, through the legs, both down and up from the feet and through the whole body. We'll take another breath here. And then exhale, release the hand to the hip and turn yourself over to the chair. Bend your legs and step your back foot forward and switch sides. I'm going to turn my back to you and come into Trikonasana or triangle pose on our second side. Turn your right foot out so it's, if you have a yoga mat, it's parallel with the yoga mat or it's parallel with your chair. Left hand into the center, and wherever you feel you have a good support for your hand, take your right hand to the hip and micro bend into the knees and turn your torso over to the side so that you're opening your belly, your heart, your chest, your lungs over towards the side that your legs are open, to the right side. Left foot is forward. Take the gaze down towards the big toe. Sometimes it just feels a little bit steadier to find the balance and to stand. Maybe your right hand stays on your hip. Maybe your right arm comes up to the sky. This helps to stand in Trikonasana. It helps to open up the feet. It opens up ankles and knees and all the layers of the thighs. in towards the hips and hip flexors. Opens up the belly, the shoulder on the right side. We'll take another breath here. And exhale, release. Take your hands back to the chair. Turn your back foot and step forward. Then we'll come back to our chair down dog again. Widen your feet a little bit wider than your outer hips. And get a nice big steady stand. Hold on to the chair. Lengthen the side body and release your neck, your head. You can have a nice long feeling from your hips to the shoulders, to the wrists, to the palms. Bend your knees. You can lift your sacrum up towards the sky and release the tension in your lower back or sacral region. It kind of unties knots by plugging the femurs in and back in towards the hip socket. We'll take one more breath here. And then slowly release and come back and take your feet in halfway, hands to the hips, and come to standing. Nice. And we're gonna do one more standing on each side. So from here, we're gonna start by supporting the hands onto the chair and step your right foot onto the chair. So you might hop your left foot back, or you might start with your feet a little bit further back and then lean forward and take your right foot up onto the chair. And then we're just going to come into like a supported lunge pose with hands around the chair seat or hands around the chair, on the back of the chair. Just stay right here. And enjoy a nice lunge supported by the chair, where we can just hold on to the edge and we don't have to hold the midline so much. We can just really focus on stretching the hip flexors and the hamstrings. And then take the hands on the chair and extend your legs and stretch your legs so that you can come into your hamstring stretch on a little different layer on the right side. Hands on each side of your foot. And you might not fully extend your knee. You might have it somewhere in between. Folding forward. One more breath here. And then we'll look forward and bend the knee and step it away and switch to the second side. Take your left foot up, so you might have to like take that leg and hoist it up, help out, or step in and then step back so you have a nice angle for your left side lunge supported version. Coming in a little deeper to your right hip flexor, a lot deeper in your right hip flexor, and into your left, the whole left hip area, really getting a nice compression. Hands can be around the back of the chair. Just kind of stretching all layers to feel a little bit more open, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more clean, clearer, releasing tension, keeping the pathways nice and open and flowing. And then we know that nutrients and health and vitality can go in and find the deeper layers of the body. Just by making sure that we have our pathways open for traffic all the way in towards the organs. We'll take another breath here. And hands on the side of the chair. And extend your left leg and come into a forward fold supported foot on the chair. Extending the hands forward, arms coming in more in towards your left hamstring group, in towards the lower back a little more. Making sure there's a nice micro bend into the knees. One more breath. And gently bend the front knee and support yourself, or take your hand and hoist your leg down, and then hands to the chair and step forward and come all the way up to standing. And we're going to come and take a seat on our chair. I'm going to turn my chair. You might have your chair right to where it is. So here we are back on our comfortable seat on the chair, sitting nice and tall on the sit bones. Nice. And from here we are going to just take the left hand onto the right knee and taking your right hand around the chair back and gentle twist around. You can look over your right shoulder. And switching to the second side, taking your right hand on the left knee, and I'm just going to take my left hand around your around our back of the chair and hold on for a twist. Taking the gaze over the left shoulder and twisting, having our hips facing forward and just getting a nice gentle twist into the organs, into the waist. And gently coming back to the center and turning our legs out for seated wide angle goddess pose or power stand with the help of the chair. It's nice to have an external rotation on the hips. It kind of gets a nice turn onto the rotators, and it gets in towards the adductors a little bit more, and just kind of sometimes it gets a little sluggish on the sides of the legs, and then we'll open them wide and open the pathways. Take your right forearm to your right thigh and sweep the left arm up towards the sky. You can take the gaze up if it works, or you can have your gaze down. This also helps to release pressure for the lower back. It stretches the side body. It goes into the deeper lumbar muscles. And then exhale, switch to the second side. Take your left forearm to your left thigh. Find both sit bones on the chair. Take the gaze up towards the thumb, or if it's more supporting and grounding, then take the gaze down towards your big toe, or just simply down. Find a spot where it's comfortable to have your gaze for your neck. And then exhale, take it all the way back to the center. Nice. Take your hands around your knees with your thumbs facing in. Take your right shoulder to the center and get a little bit different twist in towards the lumbar, into the spine, into the shoulders. You can press your knees out away from you and then press your knees in towards your hands and get nicely plugged in from there, kind of hugging the skin to the muscle and the muscle to the bones and twisting at the same time. And gently coming all the way back up. And second side, take your left hand, press it in towards your knee, and your knee pressing back in, and use all the muscles of the legs to stay nice and anchored, and twisting and turning over towards the right side. And gently come back to the center. Nice. Take your legs back to the center. We'll take a big inhale up, just coming back to our midline, and exhale, hands down to the sides. We'll have warrior and crescent lunge, and then we will twist, and then we will take a nice comfortable seat for meditation. So from here, let's take our right thigh over the leg, right thigh over the chair. We'll take the leg over the chair, how about that? And then stretch your left leg out behind you. So your right thigh hamstring is facing down on the chair. The hips are open towards the side, and we're opening the arms all the way out. Take the gaze over the middle finger on your right side. And maybe even smile. There's a nice smile from shoulder to shoulder, and there's a lot of power in the back leg. It opens some great pathways from the hips and down through all the layers of the ligaments and tendons, muscles, and joints. Sweep your right arm up and take your left hand down on your thighs. Sweep the right arm towards the sky and leaving it right here for another breath. Lifting from your hip to your shoulder, to the wrist, to the fingers. And then exhale, take your right forearm to your right thigh. Sweep your left arm all the way up and take your bicep over the ear. And here we can push through the hip flexors by pushing the left foot and the left palm opposite direction. And you can have your gaze like this to the side. If you want a little bit more turn and twist, you can take the gaze up towards the sky underneath your left upper arm. And then slowly take it all the way back to the center. And then we're going to turn to the right side all together and flip your left heel up and the toes are down. So the toes are down, so with crescent toes in the back and your right foot is down, depending on your leg bones and the length and all of that. For me, it's mainly supported onto the chair and then I have my toes down. And from here, you can have your hand around your chair and the back of the chair and simply just turn the belly. So now we have the hips facing the same direction, like over towards the right knee. And the shoulders and the hips are even, like a nice square over to the side. And maybe the hands and your chair is supporting each other, so we can sit here. Maybe we can hold on to the midline of the body and stretch the arms up towards the sky. And if you want it a little bit more in towards your left hip, you can take your right wrist around your right hand around your left wrist and just give yourself a little tug over towards the right side, stretching in towards the left side of the waist, just for one breath. And then we'll take it back to the center and release to the hands to the chair, and then come all the way back over with our feet wide, our knees wide, and switching to the second side for Warrior Two. Warrior Two is the right foot fully stretched out in the back and the left foot towards the floor, maybe the whole foot, maybe the toes, but surely letting your hamstrings, the back of the thigh, be supported onto the chair. Open your hips towards the side. So your hips are open and your arms are out to the sides. Hips and shoulders are facing the same direction. Turn the gaze over your left middle finger. And elongate out energy from the heart and the lungs, out the shoulders, out the arms, out the fingers. And sitting nice and tall and pushing in towards the right foot and getting that nice clear line of energy through the right hip flexor area and the whole right side of the hip junction on the right. Flip your left palm up, take your palm up towards the sky and your right hand towards your knee or your thigh behind you. And lifting and clearing the whole left side of the waist. Giving yourself a few breaths right here. Cleaning and clearing the left side, and then from here taking your left forearm to your left thigh, sweep your right arm up, and maybe it stays straight up and the gaze to the side. Maybe you take your bicep over towards the ear and get a little bit deeper in towards the right side of the belly as you support yourself with your feet onto the floor and getting a little bit more elongation through the right side of the waist. More room for the organs. Taking the gaze maybe underneath your upper arm, pushing into the feet. We'll take one more nice big breath here. And exhale. Take your hands back to the legs and then hands supporting you on the chair. Turn over so that you are in a crescent lunge onto the left side. push into the right crescent toes. The heel is up towards the sky, and your left hamstring is flat down onto the chair, and the hips are turning over towards your left knee, so you have your hips and your shoulders facing the same direction. And you might have your hands supported onto the chair. You can tone your belly here to protect your lower back and make it nice and steady. And you could, from here, if you feel like you have the balance and your shoulders feel open enough and arms to stretch your legs up towards the sky for a nice big full crescent lunge supported on our chair. Give ourselves another breath right here. Lifting the heart, the chest, the lungs. And exhale the hands back down to the chair, and then turn yourself back to the center. And from here, bring yourself all the way back with your feet together or hip widths apart, whichever works for your legs. Turn your palms, inhale, arms up to the sky, and hands to the heart. Take your left elbow to your right knee, twisting, palms together. One elbow up, one elbow down. So your hands end up closer to your sternum, right into the center. And your gaze can be to the side, your gaze can be down. Sit bones are nice and even on the chair. Your gaze can also come up, and the twist can go all the way from the seat, from the lumbar, middle, upper back, up towards your cervical spine. And gently release the gaze and take your hands back to the heart. And switch to the second side. Take your right elbow to your left knee, palms together. Press your top palm into the bottom palm so that your hands, the thumbs, they want to be close towards the midline, the sternum area. Your gaze can be down, your gaze can be to the side, or it can come all the way up. See if your knees can stay together and your sit bones down and your hips even facing forward. And exhale, release the gaze, release the hands to the heart and to the side. And we'll take one more nice big inhale all the way up. Exhale by closing the practice into a forward fold with our hands towards the floor, or our hands, forearms onto the knees, supporting yourself, rounding the spine, letting the neck be heavy, letting the spine be heavy. One more breath. And slowly roll it up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Taking your hands onto your knees, either palms facing up or palms facing down. And we'll just sit together for a few moments to reap all the benefits from all the different movements we did, and just let them kind of find the layers where they need to go in our body. Feeling a little bit more open, a little bit more stretched out, maybe a lot more stretched out, and just having the awareness of being still in our body. All layers. Gently open the eyes and bringing the palms together in front of the heart. If you'd like to join me in an Om to close our practice, I like to always end with an Om for my voice, for my throat, for the sounds. And if you'd like to join me, we'll take a nice big inhale. Thank you so much for joining me for chair yoga. There's so much to do with a chair and yoga. It's great. You can have such good benefits of stretching out and feeling a little bit more open in the body. And I hope you feel as good as I am right now. Nice and clean and clear. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.